G'day folks. So I've got some really important information about finances to share with you this week, and particularly for those of you who weren't able to make it to the AGM last Sunday, where we looked through the financial accounts and the budget for this year, 2026, and looked at the details of those things. It's the kind of information where as many people in Anchor as possible, it's helpful if you understand the situation we're in, the circumstance we're in, so you can be prayerfully considering how you interact with that. So here's how we think about finances in Anchor Church. There's two main departments. On the right there, we've got our property account. On the left there, our ministry account. With property, I'll just say one thing kind of really briefly here. We gave towards this last year, and we've raised a deposit of $335,000. We're looking at getting a loan, and we're currently hunting for a first step purchase, likely just a little residential property that will be an investment property that we'll get income from. And we're looking to get that done soon. So we've got a property committee hunting within the guidelines that the admin team are given in. But the thing to really pay attention to for us at the moment and this year is the ministry account. So please think with me. I put a big red box around it so we're talking really now about the month-to-month running costs of church, like the operations of church. This is what we need to pay attention to right now. Please understand our situation and the season we're in at the moment. External funding that we did have a piece of in the first bunch of years is now pretty much all dried up. So internal giving, just our Anchor giving, needs to get the job done. This is the season we're in. It needs to happen now. So either this year and into next year, we see a healthy giving increase of at least 20% into the ministry account, or realistically, we're going to need to scale back the ministry of Anchor from the start of 2027. And that's not a threat or anything like that. It's just realistically, that's what we're going to need to do. And it's important that you understand the situation that your church is in. So here's how the finances looked at the end of last year. So 2025 ministry account. Here's how we ended up. Total running costs of church, $420,000. That's just how much it costs to run church the way we're doing it for a full year. And it's important that you understand what it takes. Now, that red section at the top was our deficit last year. So that's how far behind we went in total last year. So $89,000 deficit. So we went backwards about 90,000 Ks, which means we ate into our ministry reserves $90,000 last year just to get through the year. We have got a little bit of money in reserve because the first few years we did get a bit of a surplus for a number of different reasons. And so now last year we took a big bite into those reserves. That's a decent sized bite. The yellow section, we did still have some outside funding last year, the tail end of a grant funding, a church or two beyond us and a few individuals who gave, and that added up to $69,000, which was helpful for us in the picture. But the blue section, that's what you and I gave. Our giving to ministry last year at Anchor, total $262K. So it's important that we understand how much it costs to run church and how much we are currently paying to run church and what's needed from outside and elsewhere to get through the year. So there's how last year looked, and it's important to understand how we operated as a church last year. Now, if you find yourself thinking $420,000, that sounds like a lot. Well, here's the breakdown of that, like generally speaking, how the money gets spent. See that pie chart on your right there? It's not completely accurate, but it gives you a general idea. It is about 3/4 of the costs of church go towards paying staff. Yeah, so that's the major amount of what it costs to run church is setting aside gifted men and women to lead in the church. And without them leading in their areas, ministry can't function. Certainly not in a safe way and in a helpful way. And so, I don't believe we're overstaffed as a church. We're doing the basics quite well. We've still got so much more to do, but that's what it costs to staff church. And of course, in addition to that, we pay rent. There's a whole range of ministry expenses like food and insurances and administration. And so that's the last kind of quarter. But there's the breakdown for ministry. This year, thinking about 2026 and our costs and what our targets are, here's the chart for this year that I'll be bringing to you throughout the year. So this is ministry giving for 2026, and we've obviously had the first 2 months there. You can see that lower red line, that's our monthly target. That's what we're trying to get to with our ministry giving each month in 2026, which is an increase on last year of about 18% or close to 20%. It's just what we need to lift to. Now, you can see how we've gone in the first few months. January was solid, although we were still below target. February was down, and so you can see we're already behind our target that we need to hit this year to actually keep moving forward in the following years. But that's just the lower red line. You can see the actual running costs of church are $32,000 a month. So it's important to see how much we're spending each month to run church, and how much we're giving toward that, because obviously this is the year and into next year where we do need to take big steps forward at covering the cost of running our church here at Anchor. So bottom line, we pray and we keep trusting that God will provide the resources needed for his church to function as he intends. Absolutely. We pray and we trust. But see that second box there? Just being realistic, Anchor needs more people giving more sacrificially. So if you are someone who's part of Anchor, but you have been living with the impression that things are going fine and your giving is not really needed, or your stretch and increase in giving is not really needed, please understand the situation and please know that your giving is needed. In fact, this year and into next year, it's really quite important that more people in Anchor give, and those who are giving ask the question, are they able to give more? And particularly to the ministry account. Some of you are giving small amount each month into the property account as well, which is good. That's going to help us pay our mortgage when we make a purchase. But really the big thing for us to pay attention to is the ministry account. So let's attempt to keep moving forward with strength and the resources God provides. There's so much more work to be done on the Coffs Coast. We want to move forward with ministry, not backwards. It would be quite a blow, wouldn't it, to have to scale back on anything we're attempting to do. The last thing you want to do is not be able to set aside someone to, cover youth and kids and things like that. We can't let that happen. So let's do everything we can to keep stepping forward. The need is great around us. The gospel needs to go out, and we trust that God will enable us to do this. So there you go. There's the reality of our situation. I'm happy to field lots of questions. So just get on the phone and give me a call or grab me at church if you need more information about any of that. But if that helps you actually kick into action now and start giving, or actually start giving more regularly or more sacrificially, that would be fantastic. That's my prayer, that we as a church, particularly this year, would be able to see the situation and step up to actually pay for the ministry that we're doing as a church. We need to. There you go. I hope that's helpful, not alarmist. Hope you don't feel that's manipulative or anything, just wanting you to be informed. This really is the year to understand how finances are working at Anchor and do everything we can to address them, trusting in God. All right, see you later.